Welcome back. So now we are talking about the ultramicrotomy. This is the second part of the series, and first part you can always go back to my channel and just check that one. So what we did, so if you go back here, at the end of the specimen preparation, what we have is the specimen in a boat shape. So this is looking like a cube. So now what happened here is we are thinking that this is our specimen, and what exactly required is only this part has to be sectioned, not the entire part. So let us see, if you start doing the section, what you get is the section of the entire cross sectional area, but what we require is only this particular part alone, and for that to happen we need to trim the unnecessary part of the resin where the sample is not at all present. So this process of removing the unnecessary resin is what we call as the trimming. And if you go back, this trimming has several stages here. Probably this picture may be looking like something intimidating, but what I say is just recap the experience of yours when you are sharpening your pencil in your high school or elementary school, whatever you say. So this is exactly looking like your pencil. Let us see, this is the graphite and this is the surrounding wood material that is packing the graphite rod. So what you have been doing is you have just sharpened using your razor blade in this direction, but what we are doing is we are just going in the opposite direction. So let's come back to this trimming process and see how this goes. So we start with the block that obtained from the woven that is having the sample embedded in the resin, and now we chop off the top part of it until you start seeing the specimen. So for this what we use is a single hair sharp, like a single edge sharp razor blade. So this can be obtained, and if it is not possible, there is nothing wrong in using the double edge the razor blade as well, but only thing is you have to be a little precautious that the other edge should not harm your hand. So anyway, if you just continue the same experience as you did with your pencil, I know we are all well trained in using a double sharp the razor blades. Now, once you have just removed the excess of the specimen, what we do is we choose one direction and just removing the resin part one at a time in small thicknesses until you start seeing the specimen of your choice. Then make a 180 degrees rotation and start doing the same process on the other end until you see a trapezoidal shape. So now let us see, at the beginning you have the specimen in the curvature, and what we are doing now is we are making a trapezoidal. So now you see the curvature here has gone to a straight line process. So now when you just turn it to 180 degrees here in this direction, and now what we do, if we just continue the process of just removing the sections one at a time, and again you see a straight line here and forming a flat here. This flattening is coming because of this and these edges are coming because of the continuous removal of the sections using the razor blade. And just again turn another 90 degrees, so then you start doing this one and then make another 90 degrees and then again continue the process. At the end of all this process, what you see is the trim has the edge, the block has the edge that has only the specimen, and this specimen, if you take it with microtome, when the microtome knife starts taking the sections off, it is possible that what you are going to get is having the sample alone, not your resin. So instead, if you start doing this process, it could be that your section that is going to have a part of the resin and a part of your specimen as well. So when you just go for the trimming following all these stages, what you get is only the section. Of course, there will be little bit resin also there. Without the resin you cannot have the specimen alone. So but the presence of the resin alone area is removed off from this part, and this helps us to go and use the microtome to the best possible. So this process, again I want to just to take you back to your high school days and tell you that this is exactly a similar process what you have been doing for sharpening your pencil. right? So let me see. But one difference here is you have been just sharpening your pencil in this direction, unless you have some abnormal skills where you have done the sharpening in these skills. But here we go in this direction because the sample is very precious. Because if you start doing this way, of course there is nothing wrong in doing in this way also, but if you start here, you know exactly where you are starting, and you can preserve your sample to be intact. If you start here, you are not sure where you are ending at, and that may take away your sample. So always it is recommended that just go in this direction. So if you say that I'm an extraordinary person, I am skillful enough so that I can just make this, yes, go ahead, but make sure that you are ending at the resin, not at the specimen. So that's the one precaution that one has to follow. And this is also quite obvious when you are sharpening your pencil as well. So you will never just sharpen your pencil to the level of the graphite. You will be just sharpening only the wood packing material around it. So this is about the sharpening or trimming process. And let's see, I don't want to spend this much time. I am a super busy person. And then what happens? There are automated and motorized trimmers. Just like the way our pencil has the automatic menders. And if you recall, I think we have some Bollywood movies, I mean Hollywood movies, that helps us to visualize this. If you go back to the movie The Mask, M-A-S-K, mask, and if you can go back to that movie, you can see that there is an automatic sharpener of the pencil that is available. For those who are just visiting other movies, you might have seen this as well. So what it does is there will be like a motorized one. It will have a sensor. The moment you just slide in your pencil, it automatically starts rotating, making your pencil sharp within no time. Can that be used here as well? Yes, there are automated or motorized trimmers available here. And what this motorized trimmers does is it just goes, you have to just set up an angle and just sharpens automatically at predetermined thicknesses until you stop it. So that means if you start trimming it, it just keeps on trimming it, and if you don't stop it at this moment, it starts trimming it, and then it reaches the other end, leaving you another blunt head, right? So that is one potential danger here. So even though I said the automated here, one has to have like a manual supervision and to stop it at the right time and right place, and also the thickness that you have to see. So that is one point. And second point is use of automated, of course, auto rotate tables. So this use auto rotate tables and the fast grinding blade. So this will ease our process, but there is a potential danger of losing our specimen in the whole process of the automation. Next, what is the next danger that is lying here is these blades, that is fast moving blades, can produce some heat at the specimen. And remember, this specimen is embedded in the resin, and this resin has the capability of melting down at 80 Celsius or 60 Celsius. So that means if by any chance the heat generated by the blades reaches that temperature, what happens is your solid resin will start melting down. So it is no longer a solid matrix and starts melting down. That can cause the blowing away of your specimen. So that means can produce excessive heat which can melt down the resin, thereby spoiling the specimen. Then the next process problem is the excessive grinding. As I said, if you just don't monitor it and stop it at the right place, it can grind away your specimen, not just the block alone. So this is a little dangerous for us, because the aim of our exercise is to just get the specimen embedded in the resin. So this means that we need the specimen as well as the resin. So this automated has the potential danger that the excessive heat can affect the resin around it, and the improper monitoring of the grinder will cause the sample to blow away. So that means that there is a potential danger of using the automated. And what I heard is even the experienced users, they prefer to go for a manual trimming. Even though this looks like a very tedious process, as an experienced user can do all this within 5 to 10 minutes. I don't think it is not a problem necessary for us to go for automated motorized. Then you may ask me, what are these motorized trimmers are meant for, or why are they in place? First of all, these commercials, they always just try to lure you saying that you have this comfort, but what they don't say is the quality. So it's always comfort with the loss of quality. So you have to choose a system where your comfort and quality levels are balanced. So this is what I want to say. So there are some automated motors available. They are good for use, provided you know how to use them, you know when to stop them. So that's about this session. And um, and then there is another slight difference that we have to keep in mind. This specimen, what we are assuming hypothetically, is at the center of the block. It is not necessary that always it has to be center of the block and vertically symmetric, as you are seeing here. Quite few times it happens that the specimen may be here, it may be here, it may be just spreading along this direction, it may be spreading along this direction. In all such cases, use of your manual skills to shaping or trimming will always help you rather than going for automated. So this is another point that you have to keep in mind, whether to go for a manual trimming or the automated trimming. The next stage in the sectioning process is the ultramicrotomy, which involve the four stages here. The first one is the block trimming, the second one is the knife, the third one is the ultramicrotomy, and finally the collection of the sections that is obtained from the ultramicrotomy. So the block trimming involves the removal of the excessive resin, and that we have discussed in detail in the earlier this session itself. Next. Next session, we are going to talk about how to make the knife of the ultramicrotomy. That has two parts of it. One is the glass knife and the other one is a diamond knife. And followed by this is a discussion about the ultramicrotomy itself, the physical principles of the ultramicrotomy, where we will be talking about the specimen arm and the block, the trough, the knife, and all those things. And then we'll talk about the section of the collection. So these are all the topics that we are going to discuss in the next presentation. Thank you very much.